Okay. Yo. Good to see you. Kind of insane stream today. A lot to talk about. Insane something happened today. But first, good to see you. We got this interview's happening in about 30 minutes, something like that. Maybe 40. And until then, I have a little presentation. We'll talk about the fucking insane Pam Bondi hearing today. And I also just want to check out with you guys. So, Vanilla 44, thank you for the prime. Min Pin with the gun, thank you for the prime. Just a random nerd, thank you for the prime. Quick Draw Madness, thank you for the 16 months. Not ignored. You didn't say my Pete Buttigieg joke. What the smell, dude? What was your joke? What was your joke? Pete Buttigieg. No. You know what? I'm saving that for round two. I don't think that's you don't open with that one. I use this opportunity to rip on Aiden, and I'll save Cobb. Thank you for the prime. Chocolatey, thank you for the 11 months. Jason the Sandman with a prime. Oh, you wanted me to say, I'll be the judge of that booty. Thanks. Thanks, dude. I decided not to do that. I will say one thing. All right, if you guys don't know, Lemonade Stand, we just did an interview, came out today with Pete Buttigieg about a lot of things. We kind of covered a lot of topics. I will say the thing I was most interested in was his thoughts on whether Trump will attempt to subvert or steal the election. So that's at the end if you really want to watch that. I'm glad he answered it in an honest way, which is cool. We talked about trains as well. We talked about, it was good. I thought it was good. So I appreciate it if you like it. But what's interesting, I'll tell you off the camera, Pete Buttigieg is a nerd. Like a fucking nerd. He's a nerd, bro. On or off. In that, we were doing mic checks. For the interview, and Doug was like making a joke. Aiden cracked a joke. Went to me. I cracked a joke. Went to Pete Buttigieg. He looks into camera and recites, "Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and it's made." He did the whole poem from memory. It was. Read the room, Pete. Read the room. He did the full Robert Frost poem from memory as his mic check. I don't know. We might have got frame mogged in a way. Luck till they were the prime. Kokoryu Beats, they got the 51 months. Hey, okay. For your upcoming interview, I have a fire line. You should say, Ro Khanna, more like Ro Khanna, we released these damn Epstein files already. It's heat, I fear. Holy. Is this fire? How to make someone walk out of a virtual interview. I still can't believe I messaged Librarian like 10 minutes before I'm about to present, and he found me a clip from 5 years ago that was the perfect one I needed from Northern Lion. It was like unreal perfect. It was like exactly what I wanted someone to say. He found Northern Lion saying it. It was kind of unreal. It's not probably not a healthy obsession. A psychologist wouldn't. certainly a lucrative one. DJ Domo, thank you for the 40 months. Troc, I've been watching clips from the Pam Bondi hearing. I was waiting for your stream. Yeah, we'll talk about that today. I'm trying to time it so that my presentation on Pam Bondi sort of segues nicely into the interview with Ro Khanna, but I'll do it a little early if I have to, just to be safe. Because I think they are, I mean, it's very closely related, the questions I want to ask. Uh, also, if you're interested in, I don't know, my thoughts on life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, I did a personal interview with Stans on his show, The Stan Show, that just came out. It's like a week, maybe more than a week. It's maybe like two weeks old or something, but it's really just about our friendship and life and what we want out of our lives and highs, lows, all that. It's interesting. I thought it was good. I thought it was, but you'd have to be kind of parasocial to like it because it's not like me talking about politics or something. It's like me talking about life. It's sappy shit, but I thought it was good. Acidic DMT, thank you for the message. Jalen J. Sean, thank you for the prime. Did you talk about the epic highs and lows of high school football? No, we were both nerds. Atrioc, thank you for the prime. Skeets, thank you for the 56 months. Gee, it's friend slop. Yeah, sure, fine. Atrioc, a while back, you said we could reach out if we needed a referral, where I sent the DM, I'm getting desperate, but here we are. Oh, yeah, if you think you are a super strong fit, I'm happy to pass it along. I will say, like, I've done some referrals for people recently. It's just, I'm telling you, it's kind of low-key cooked. People that I gave my best referral and it didn't work. So I don't want to overpromise here. But I'm down to, if you really think there's a strong fit, I will take a look. Blaster Faster roster, they have the 45 days. Referrals don't work. Referrals definitely work. Referrals are like one of the absolute best ways to get a job. No doubt. But I'm just saying the only places I have good referrals at right now are not even really Twitch anymore and NVIDIA. And, they're just, the days of it being like a really good shot, I think, are over. And I don't want to like lie. I'll say like, this person's a good fit. I know them, through online stuff. I'll give you a massaged intro, but, cake and a tort, they have the 27 months. Can you refer me to Ro Khanna? I kind of want to see the Epstein files. You know who also wants you to see the Epstein files? Ro Khanna. So if you'll just let him do his job and we support him and Thomas Massey and what they're doing, we might actually get these files out so we can see them. It doesn't need to be a private thing. Chaka 2001, they have the 30 months. Can you give me the referral to off-brand? I need a few mil. Sorry, Aiden took it all. Sorry, that well's dry, folks. If you're trying to milk off-brand for all it's worth and take it out of Ludwig's pocketbook, there's only one person, one twink who's already got all that money, and his name's Aiden Calvin. $3 million. Cha-ching! Right in his bank account. What's your GPA in college? Oh, you're really going to fucking GPA mog me right before I do an interview with the congressman? You're going to make me feel bad for playing League of Legends sophomore, junior, and senior year? Low blow, man. Low blow. That's interesting. Low blow. Well, you should ask me my league rank. Ask me what was my league rank in college. Pretty damn good. Rank 13 North America. Right behind Skara in his prime. Is that? No one talks about that. Well, I know we have a serious subject today, but I just know one last thing about League of Legends, which is a crazy thing, but I have to say it real quick. I was talking with somebody yesterday who is a real knowledgeable person about League of Legends. Great knowledge of the game and of esports and the story and everything. This person said, with how insanely good the new AD carry is for T1, Pace, who's cracked as hell, there's a real chance T1 could win again this year. And I want to say that if that happens, I'm actively, even as a T1 fan with a tattoo, kind of rooting against it. Because if they win this one, it kind of makes them all feel like Mickey Mouse to me. Someone else has to win to make your dynasty special. If you win all of them, then it starts to feel like it's not really a league. I would prefer to have 6. That's Jordan numbers. If you win 30, then it's like, oh, okay. Jordan won 6 straight. No, he didn't. He played baseball in the middle. I'll just make something up, bro. He quit the entire league, dude, and played terrible MLB. Sifroff, I think, for the 43 months. One shot, thank you for the 80 months. Yeah, man, Alexander the Great should have just given up because it would have looked bad if he won everything. This is an insane take. This is a truly insane comparison. That is not, don't his pen is this fire. By the way, Alexander the Great, high key, he ended early. Do you know what I'm saying? Imagine if Alexander the Great had kept conquering for 40, 50, 60 more years. I don't think we'd call him the Great. I think we'd call him the tyrant. You'd call him the, do you know what I'm saying? Him dying young is what made it special. You got to retire on top. By the way, I hate to say it. I hate to undercut a great, but Nepo baby. I'm sorry, but Alexander the Great, if he was born from a regular family, how great is he? It's kind of interesting. Oh, you're such a smart tactician. I wonder who was your private tutor from when you were 5 years old. Interesting. Just interesting, bro. Who set you up for that? I feel like Napoleon, that's an impressive run. He didn't have a fucking Nepo dad. Haters say the same shit about Brawny. Oh, okay. Well, I guess look, we have a little bit of time because we're about to get some serious shit for a while. So I'm going to do a little more riffing goofiness. Yesterday, last night, after we finished the Pete Buttigieg interview and our Patreon and our ad reads, I took one of the guys on Pete's team actually, and I went with some friends and I went to the Lakers game. Now I bought these Lakers games tickets a long time in advance, a long time in advance. And it turns out that last night, I don't know if you follow basketball, it was the Lakers versus 7'5" Victor Wembanyama Spurs. And the Lakers sat every single player that you would know, basically. They sat Luka, they sat LeBron, they sat Austin Reeves, they sat DeAndre Ayton, everyone was out. So I paid for all the tickets myself. So, you know, I'll just say it's over $1,000 I spent on tickets. And I sat there and watched like the fucking bench of the Lakers get absolutely shit on by a 7'5" alien monster. We had fucking Drew Timme, a guy you've never fucking heard of. Drew Timme trying to guard. It was like the Monstars, dude. He got 30 points in a quarter. It was, and then sat out. It was crazy. It was crazy. Drew Timme, Gonzaga legend. This isn't college, bro. This is like one of the greatest physical specimens the NBA has ever seen. And not once could they guard him. They fouled him every time. That was the only way they could stop Wemby was by fouling him. I think so. Our best remaining player from the Lakers was Jake LaRavia, who's he's down the list, bro. The Lakers, but he was the best player of this squad. No, Rui was bad tonight. Jake LaRavia had the most points. Rui's the starter, but so Jake LaRavia fouled out. He fouled out in like the halftime. He fouled out in 2 quarters because he kept trying to foul Wemby. It was anyway, at the end of the game, the young goat Bronny James came in, and the entire arena that didn't walk out just cheered for Bronny because we were down by 30 or 40. It was a real stinker, bro. It was a real stinker. I gotta be honest with you. It was like a true. Bronny was good, by the way. No disrespect. Bronny showed some athleticism. Anyway, it was fun. Did you complain to your close personal friend Luca? Luca wasn't playing, bro. I guess he was there, but maybe Scooby, thank you for the prime. Scout Monkey, thank you for the 16 months. Choget, Yardy Jason, thank you for the prime. Luca was at McDonald's, LOL. Yeah, Luca was front row with 10 burgers, just chomping down while he watched the Lakers get beat by 40. It was just crazy because, all right, look, obviously I can fucking absorb the cost of this horrible game, and I had a decent time or whatever. But if this was somebody, like, imagine you're a family or something. You're like a dad that brought your kid to go see the game. Like, what a horrible product. I just feel like it was like, from minute one, the game was not competitive, and you don't even get to watch the players you came to see. I think it's crazy. The tickets were quite expensive, and that gold money paid for the game. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm saying I've got gold money, so it's fine, but like, it doesn't seem fair that the game was so bad. And I thought at least, all right, I'm like, look, okay, it's a back-to-back. LeBron's not going to play. Luka's injured. That's fair. At least I'll get to watch Austin Reeves ball out. But they just sat everybody. The first game my dad took me to, our team got destroyed, still kind of fun. It's not about losing. One team's got to lose. But if I'm here to watch some of my favorite players or the stars and they just don't play, it feels whack. But at least you got to watch dominating. They fucking sat Ayton. I know this is all like a little in the weeds for people that don't give a shit about the Lakers, but I'm telling you how far down the list of their bench you had to go to even get a player playing. Nobody play, dude. You were watching. Okay, I swear they had who's this guy? Kobe Buffkin. We just kept yelling Kobe like he was the reincarnation of Kobe. This guy, I'm not kidding, I think is half of Victor Wembanyama's height. It looked like Mike. It looked like Lil Bow Wow. He was standing half. He stood up to like his. How do you? You're supposed to guard that guy? It's like he. It was crazy. It was crazy, bro. Luca, why didn't you play? The Dow hit 50,000. Anyway, what time is it? 5:46. Okay, let's talk about this. All right, fuck it. I'm talking about the Lakers too much. This is like a pretty monumental day, and I want to catch everybody up, okay? I want to catch everybody up because I'm about to interview Ro Khanna, and I want you to. I feel like, how do I put this? I feel like everyone is hearing bits and pieces of what's going on, and they're obviously angry, and we obviously want more information on the Epstein files. But I want to like put it in a kind of a timeline or in an order so that you can understand how insane what's going on really is. Okay? So, but first, I want to tell you what happened today. So today, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, had a hearing, okay, with the House and Congress, okay? It was 5 hours long where they basically grilled her on the piss poor management of the Epstein files. Weird redactions, not talking to victims, the way they've been delaying, obfuscating, hiding, the way they've been redacting powerful people, unredacting victims' names. All of this stuff came up, okay? And Pam Bondi was grilled from basically every direction. And I think her response under pressure was horrendous. It was horrendous. I'll play you some clips, some of which you may have seen. But really, you do not need context to understand this is an insane way to respond.
Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know,
like, these are questions about, like, why are you unredacting victims' names? Why are you covering up the names of powerful men involved? And she's like, you're attacking It's crazy. It's crazy. Then she tries to pivot to, like, pointing to Donald Trump's economy.
the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking.
Just to be clear, this is a hearing about the Epstein files. It isn't like an open hearing about anything and they just happen to bring that up. Everyone here is for the Epstein files. The victims are sitting behind her. Everyone is here to talk about one thing, and she is deflecting to the fucking Dow. This is the Attorney General of the United States being asked direct questions about why we still haven't received the full files. It is comical in its absurdity. The idea that is a line of attack that her and her team had written down as a way to get out of this. Deflect to the Dow is crazy.
Talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year.
Crazy. This is fucking crazy. It was a true fucking clown show. By the way, it was revealed. Reuters got a picture of it, but her binders here and the binders of her associates in the background were not filled with like detailed facts and statements on the case so that she could knowledgeably answer the questions. They were filled with, they had tabs of all of the people who'd be asking questions and like burns to them. It was like insults tailored to them based on what, like zingers. It's like a fucking burn book. This guy even pointed it out.
Left. So because I'm curious, and I'd like to see, flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder. I'm interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me, and because we're in the Olympics, I'm gonna give it a grade. I just wanna see how good it is. So give me your best one.
So people were pointing it out, but I mean, you could see like screenshots of like, it's just like little dunks. You claim to be a social justice warrior, but you're a member of, you're against dark money. It's like, none of it is like real substantive attorney general level understanding of this important judicial issue, which is the release of the Epstein files that you have been blocking for going on a full, I mean, actually longer, but let's say under this time, full calendar year now. Trump, by the way, at the same time, during this massive hearing, is tweeting about great jobs numbers far greater than expected and how the United States of America should be paying much less on its bonds. Which is, I mean, there's so much wrong with this. I don't even want to go into it because it's not an economics video. But the United States of America only sets interest rates on short-term bonds, not the long terms that we borrow at. And certainly, if we were to cut interest rates now, it wouldn't save us $1 trillion per year. Okay, all of this is completely made up. I know it's like a shocker that President Donald J. Trump might lie, but all of this is mumbo jumbo nonsense. Okay, golden age of America is upon us. Yeah. Additionally, we had other questions that really cut to the heart of the matter.
Former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want you
to understand, this question that you're about to hear is a very simple yes or no question. but her answer to it defines the full 5 hours, which is she is asked a lot of direct yes or no questions and see how she responds.
No, with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect.
Who's trying to
all
deflect?
the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please
that
stop
he
the clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation.
Time.
This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to
ridiculous.
reclaim my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men.
Anyway, it's honestly sickening, and the entire 5 hours just made it so apparent. It's already, we knew this, but it's so apparent that this is like a not even well coordinated, a ramshackle, desperate cover-up attempt for a lot of powerful people, but specifically one of them is Donald Trump. And the reason it's all happening is because of his power. The other people don't have a power over her specifically, but he has power over her. And it ended, the 5 hours were mostly similar to this. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but it ended with all of the victims being asked.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
She refused to look at them, refused to apologize, refused to indicate in any way that the goal of her DOJ is to get actual justice, to interview victims, to learn anything. It's very, very, very fucking obvious what the goal of her DOJ is. It's to protect a few powerful people, quite specifically, I think, Donald Trump, but among others. So I think one of the victims had the best to say after this whole fucking clown show. I think that's what she called it.
We almost felt like embarrassed that we even stood up and she couldn't
Sorry,
turn
it
around.
might be too quiet. I'm not sure if you can hear. I'm trying to get it as loud as I can.
We almost felt like.
Let's see if I can find the original video, because I don't. It's anyway, I'll tell you what she said. She said, here, I'll repeat it.
Embarrassed that we even stood up and she couldn't turn around and apologize to us.
She said, I felt embarrassed that we even stood up and she couldn't even turn around and apologize to us. This whole thing is a clown show, I think is what she said.
And I think right now, I think the whole room is pretty much laughing at her. She has become a circus act
The whole room is laughing at her, and this has become a circus act.
at this point.
That is what I feel. It was a fucking clown show. So look, I'm gonna be interviewing Ro Khanna here in about, I think it's 10, 15 minutes. Who is one of, I think, again, I've said this multiple times, I think the heroes. There are, I think, 3 people I want to spotlight as absolute heroes in this multi-year long, but especially recently, attempt to try and get actual justice and transparency around the Epstein files. One of them is Ro Khanna, who we're going to talk to in a second. The other is Thomas Massey, and the other is journalist Julie K. Brown. So I want to do a quick timeline to catch you up, because I know you've probably heard a ton of things over the past year and more about Epstein. I want to give you like a quick beat by beat so you understand what's going on as we go into this. Okay, so general high level idea, okay? Jeffrey Epstein, wealthy, powerful, well-connected predator, connected with a lot of powerful people. In 2005, a 14-year-old girl's family reports that she was molested at his mansion, okay? Multiple underage girls all tell police that they were hired to give him sexual massages, okay? When he's charged on that, on multiple counts of unlawful sex with a minor in 2006, Barry Krishner, did I say his name right? Krishner? State attorney, steps in and gives him special treatment. And his deal, also with Alex Acosta, is pled down to 1 count of prostitution, soliciting prostitution, okay? So this is the original story of Jeffrey Epstein in 2008. They have tons of evidence immediately that he's a child sex predator, but he is pled down. This is in 2008. The headline was financier starts sentence in prostitution case. Doesn't even put his name in the headline. That's what it was, okay? After this, when he gets out of this short jail sentence where he can actually leave during the day, it's like a very cushy jail sentence. After this is when all of these extra emails you start seeing between him and like Howard Lutnick, him and Elon Musk, him and all the people you've seen in the emails releases. All these are after this happens, okay? But in 2018, 10 years after this, after Epstein's been living basically free and wealthy and connected, despite, again, this being the truth of it, Julie K. Brown, a reporter from the Miami Herald, starts to pick up the story again. She does the work that nobody else will. It's been 10 years, and she starts tracking this guy and re-talking to victims. Now, this is an incredibly important piece of work, and you can find in the emails that Jeffrey Epstein was worried about her. She did heroic work, and she is the reason he ended up, like, all of this is a saga today, because he basically got away with it, okay? This is actually good journalism. So she did that, and that's what led to him getting arrested again, the new amount of pressure, and to him dying in jail. I won't say suicide because I don't think it was a suicide, but that's the idea. She brought down Jeffrey Epstein, okay? And then he's put in jail and something happens and he dies. But it's because of her efforts. Now, since then, there has been the idea that, hey, outside of him and Ghislaine Maxwell, who were punished because of her work, there had to be more people involved. The idea that it was just him, this guy was acting alone and had nobody connected to him, is insane. And yet, since then, it's been an attempt to keep it all quiet, to just not investigate it further, not go any further with it. That's where these two people come in. This is Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Ro Khanna of California. These two people are heroes. I literally think that some of the work they're doing is some of the most important in America. They are bipartisan. They are from different parties, Republican, Democrat. They don't even vote aligned on most things, but they have a friendship and they have worked together to get this out. It is incredible. I'm happy to be talking to Ro Khanna today. I'd love to talk to Thomas Massie if he's available. I think what they're doing is really important. So I want to go through a more detailed timeline of the past year so you can kind of catch up. Okay. Right after Trump gets elected and gives Pam Bondi her job, she says in February, again, he starts in February, she goes, the Epstein list is sitting on my desk right now. And we're gonna release it. Trump is the most transparent president ever. We're gonna get this out. Then they invite a bunch of like conservative influencers to the White House where they get these binders that say the Epstein Files Phase 1, and they pose for the camera. And they all make Instagram posts about it that they have all deleted. I went back and tried to find them. They all deleted them because there was nothing in these binders. These binders were a total lie. Then by July of that year, suddenly the Epstein client list does not exist. Pam Bondi comes out and walks back the theory. There was no client list. At the same time, Ghislaine Maxwell is interviewed privately by Todd Blanche, of Deputy Attorney General of Pam Bondi, where she says, yeah, Trump did nothing wrong and is moved to a minimum security prison with nicer conditions. It's just, A pretty obvious quid pro quo. Then Kash Patel comes out and says no credible information that anyone else is involved in the Epstein crimes. Okay? So it's at this point, around the time of Kash Patel and this and the client list there, basically this July, August, September area, that Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna create the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which is an attempt to get these files actually released. Basically to force, using judicial methods, the government and the DOJ to actually release them. They are the only reason we have been getting these millions of files out, even though we haven't gotten them all. We would have zero, because they were attempting at this point in the process to shut the door. They were trying to say it's done, it's over, there's nothing else. The only reason we ended up getting these millions more files is because they created the Transparency Act, they made it public, they put pressure on other people to vote for it, and they ended up getting an overwhelming vote. Once they got that overwhelming vote, that went to Trump and he had to sign it, because if it, it was like voted 427-1, the Epstein Files Transparency Act. If he didn't sign it then, it would be obvious. So he had to sign it. But then after he signed it and it became legally the law of the land that we had to release it, they started to delay. They started to delay, obfuscate. So after that, we got that first wave, if you guys remember it, the first wave was like 33,000 documents, and they were heavily redacted, almost all black pages. I don't know if you guys remember that first wave. That was not all of it. So since then, Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna have been like December 17th, they said, hey, DOJ, if you do not meet the deadline in the Transparency Act that we all signed, there could be repercussions, there could be lawsuits, you could get in serious trouble. You are breaking the law. That's when we got the first wave of the files on December 19th. Then, because it was only the first wave and they're still delaying, on January 8th, just a month ago, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie asked for a special master independent monitor to oversee compliance, basically saying deadlines keep getting missed, everything's over-redacted, we're not getting the required reporting. That's when, under that pressure, we got this 3 million new files that we just got. And these new files have very strange redactions. Sometimes the victims are not redacted and the powerful men are redacted, which is weird. There was 6 men that were redacted in these files that should not have been, that Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna then read out openly on the House floor. They read their names. It was, I don't have all the names in front of me, but it was like Les Wexner, Sultan Ahmed bin Salayem. It was powerful people, okay? So these people get released. Now they are putting additional final pressure, and that brings us up to today. Final pressure to get all of the files released, including 3 million additional files that have not been released, and with full, complete unredactions of everyone but victims. That's where we're at today. So like this is a timeline that is years in the making, but specifically last year of like month after month after month of deadlines being missed, and they are the ones keeping the pressure going. So I'm excited to talk to him in just here in about 5 minutes, but I wanted to catch you up on what's going on. That's why he's important. Him and Thomas Massie are important, and that's why what they're doing is like noble. Again, they are receiving an insane amount of pressure from the DOJ to stop. I come with the Prime, but now I think we have a few minutes till he joins. But that's what I wanted to catch you up on. Let me make sure that I have my camera ready. Interview scene works perfect. Okay. Yeah, but someone said that's great and all, but did you hear the Dow is 50,000? I can't believe she said that. Like, I can't fucking believe it. There was an echo in the scene. I can fix it. I can fix it. If there is an echo, then maybe I'll just do Discord call. Let me do a real quick check. Is there an echo right here? Is there an echo right here? How about now? I don't think there's an echo anymore, right? We're good. Is it too loud though? Okay. What if I if I rebalance it? What if I rebalance it like this? Mic is scuffed? Huh. Huh. You think so? What about now? How about the mic now? We sound good? Sound better? Sounds good? Better? Worse? Testing, 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 testing. Quiet? Okay, what about now? What if it's like perfect now? Sounds good? Don't move it? Don't move it? Okay, great. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It sounds compressed. You sound like you're sick. You sound good, but look terrible. I can't believe that's what you're going to wear. What a thing to say, bro. What a thing to say. I can't believe you said that. All right. Well, you said the audio was good though, right? Okay. Audio is clear. No, I know it's clear now, but on the other scene. Not as good as right now. Maybe we'll just use Discord for this. Maybe we'll just use Discord. I don't want to fuck with the audio. It's a little soft. Yeah, I'll just use Discord. The team made me this interview scene. They made me this scene so that it looks cool like this, and then Ro Khanna can fill the screen. It looks sick as hell, but I don't want to use it if the audio sounds bad. It sounds good? You can hear this? It sounds fine? Okay. All right, we'll use this then. People are saying it's not great. It's a bit sick-like. I don't want to sound sick, bro. I don't know why it would sound like that. It's the same mic. What the fuck? What about this? Do I sound sick now? Do I sound sick now, or do I sound like normal? Perfect. Do I sound like this over here? I want to sound the same. You sound the same. This one's quiet. What do you mean this one's quiet? You not copy paste the audio input? No, I cannot. That's not how it works. This scene is quiet. They're trolling you. You're good. We'll do last test. Last test. Last test. Last test. Last test. Testing. This is the final test. Oh, it's still a little loud, huh? What about now? What if I just turn it down a little bit? What if I just turn it down? But it's the same intro. Okay, we're good. Yeah, okay. I think this is good. But like you can hear, like I do, ladies and gentlemen, Ro Khanna's here. I can do that? That's good. Okay. All right, he's gonna join in like 3 minutes. He's gonna join in like 3 minutes. Camera lag? I don't see camera lag. Only when I'm switching, right? But not now. start of your sentences get cut off? Oh my God, I can't. It's like 30 FPS. Well, it's a call. I'm recording don't worry about it. It's your noise gate? No, I don't have a noise gate. It would only be the noise gate on this software. We'll try it. We'll try it. We'll try it. We'll try it. Try it. We'll 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 try it. We will try it. Okay, let me see what they're saying. The camera seems to be receding your hairline. Okay, relax. Relax, bro. Okay, he's getting the mic set up. We're going to try it right about now. He has about 20 minutes, I think, 20, 30 minutes. So it won't be a very long interview, but we'll get some questions. Anything chat wants to ask? Ask him about the Dow. Maybe I will ask him that. Maybe I will. Make sure this works. And I have to make sure that the chat. Turn this off when I go to the next scene. Okay. How confident is he that they're receiving the unedited file? That's a great question. I do want to ask that. That's a great question. Ask him about they're in, they said? Okay, let's see. I'm not seeing it. No, I'm not seeing it. Let's try Discord, Jonah. If you don't mind. Just for ease. Let's just do Discord. I'm gonna join the group. I just feel like I'm not seeing it. Discord is going to sound worse, I promise. I mean, they don't have Discord set up. Okay, we'll do it one more time. I'm going to remake the call. Jonah, I'm going to remake the call. And give you the link. We're going to try it one more time. Okay. So this is my thing. Allow. Join. Add participant. Ro Khanna. Create. There's the link. Hopefully that works. We're going to praise. It's not free Zoom, chat. The whole point of this was to stop the free Zoom problem. Okay. But I didn't want to pay for Zoom. So we created an interview platform. Just use TeamSpeak. I'm going to get them on Ventrilo. Congressman, can you get on Ventrilo, please? Can we get on Roblox chat? You might message me on MSN Messenger. Can we get a Call of Duty Modern Warfare lobby? No luck. Oh, it worked.
Hey,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, perfect. Give me 1 second to switch the scene. Congressman Ro Khanna, can you hear me?
I can. Thanks for having me on.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you have a very busy time going on right now. I just did a bit of a timeline update with my audience here on the years of cover up and misjudgment and dereliction of justice with the Epstein file situation. We went from 2005, where he ended up getting that weird plea deal in 2008, to years of no action, to 2018, where Julie K. Brown's testimony, or sorry, her journalism brought this back into the light. And then I went through the last year of stuff where you and Thomas Massey's friendship have really solidified an actual attempt to get this stuff out. So what I want to ask you is mostly about what happened today with the Pam Bondi hearing. Can I get your overall take on what you saw in that hearing in the 5 hours?
I was sad. One of the survivors texted me. She said, I'm really glad I wasn't there, and I've lost all hope. I mean, I think sometimes people view this as political theater. Pam Bondi obviously came in and was hurling insults at members of Congress. Members of Congress were trying to embarrass Pam Bondi. But for Thomas Massey and this has actually been about the survivors. We've gotten to know a number of them. They've cried in our offices. They've faced extraordinary trauma. We're less interested in scoring points on Pam Bondi or Donald Trump, more interested in seeing the men who raped these people as girls, raped them when they were 14, 15, brought to justice. One survivor talked about being raped at 17 in Paris, and the person is in the files, but no longer in France, no longer in the United States, escaping jurisdiction. She just wants them to be investigated. And what I saw was an embarrassment that no one was talking about actually bringing these men to justice, exposing them, investigating them, prosecuting them. They were so focused on scoring political points. And we have to really grapple as a country is, do we have the moral character to hold the Epstein class accountable?
So you mentioned the word hope, and I can understand that person's feeling that there is no hope. I hear that from a lot of people in my audience and people in my life, that this feels despondent and feels like this has been such a long time that justice has not been served. However, I do want to say the actions that you and Thomas Massey have taken with the Epstein Files Transparency Act seems like to me the only time we've had real forward motion on getting this released. And I do not think we would have the millions of files that we've gotten so far, though it's not enough, if not for that. So it does give me some hope. I'm wondering if, on your opinion, you see the dam breaking a bit. Do you see any, like, this feels like there's some sort of progress. It feels like a floundering attempt, what Pam Bondi is doing, not a one of solidarity or strength.
I think you're absolutely right. I appreciate you saying that, because Massey and I didn't think we'd get nearly this far. We didn't expect we'd be able to get half the files released. And I didn't know how many people were exposed. I mean, I could not have guessed that so many people, of the most powerful people in real estate, finance, tech, Hollywood, were in these files. And what are you doing going and visiting an island knowing that someone has been convicted of pedophilia? I mean, if you did that, you should be investigated. You should be asked questions. I'm not saying everyone who has emailed saying I'm going to visit Epstein on his island committed rape, but think about it. You know this guy has been convicted for pedophilia. You know he has young girls on this island, and you're going there? And give me a break. Some people are saying I'm going there to fundraise. I've raised a lot of money. I'm in politics. You don't go to an island of a pedophile to raise money. You know, you'd go to some New York restaurant or a cafe in Silicon Valley to have that meeting. So, I mean, you know, this has just exposed a class of people who thought they were above the law, had incredibly bad judgment at best, and in some cases were part of raping or watching young girls being raped. They need to be brought to justice. And so I am hopeful in that we have defied the odds to get this far. Everyone now has woken up to it. I mean, this is something that many Americans are talking about. It's not like many things in politics, which I do, which no one knows about. This is something people who are watching the Super Bowl are talking about. And I think they're not going to rest until we have justice. Certainly, it's become a personal cause for me and Thomas Massey. I mean, I'm not going to let this go.
So two things on that. One is, what kind of pressure are you facing to stop what you're doing, not only now, but in the past when you began doing it? I wonder if you could help my audience understand of what you've had to fight against to get this far?
Well, we have, both Nancy and I have made a lot of enemies. You know, it's not the traditional way of doing politics. Usually in politics, when you get elected, you keep your head down, you keep making friends. Politics is addition, not subtraction. You don't offend people, and you just bide your time, and eventually you rise to as high as you can go. That's how you become speaker. That's how you become president. That's how you become vice president.
Right.
And why have people not taken these people on? It's not just Trump. Why is there been successive administrations where this stuff has been hidden? Because some of the people who are part of this Epstein class are some of the most rich people, powerful people in our country. They're donors to politicians. They're donors to the party. They have extraordinary influence. And so you've got Massey right now being challenged in a primary where billionaires are putting money against him in a super PAC. You have billionaires talking about running someone against me in my primary. And so the way that they try to discourage you is to say, you know, we're going to come after you. And now they won't say, oh, we're coming after Massey because of the Epstein files, or they'll pick some other issue. But that's what's upsetting them, that we're exposing this corrupt class. And, you know, when the other way they discredit you is, oh, these are crackpots. These are conspiracy theorists. These guys are just doing this out of a false sense of populism. Don't pay attention. They're not mainstream. Why aren't they talking about the real issues? Why aren't they talking about the cost of
Dow? Did you see that today from Pam Bondi? Why are they talking about the Dow being 50,000?
Why aren't they talking about as if morality doesn't matter, as if there's anything more sacred than protecting young girls in a civilized society. As if a society that allows for the rape of young girls and the abuse of young girls, as if it has any stature, even if you have a GDP that is enormous. What does it matter if you don't have basic human decency and human values?
So that brings me, I mean, you mentioned some people who said, oh, I was there for fundraising. But there's an even worse, I think, class of people who openly denied it until the emails came out, until the emails that you forced the release of. People like Howard Lutnick, who have spent years saying that they avoided the man, they never had any contact with him, and now it has been revealed have had business dealings, have had dinners with him. He's one of many, but I feel like that is an area where there's obvious immediate resignations and justice that need to be happening.
No, thank you for saying that. He needs to be fired. Look, the person who should be firing him is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, it came out that he made a call in 2006 to the police saying that he's really concerned about stuff that's going on with Epstein, and Epstein is hanging out with young girls, and he needs to be prosecuted. Now, there are other things that Donald Trump has said that don't make him paint him in as positive a light, but Donald Trump said that in 2006. And then you have your own Commerce Secretary who, after you know that this Epstein is a pedophile, you know that because you called the police, it came out, and he's convicted. And after that, you've got someone who is admitting that he lied about meeting Epstein, and is going to Epstein's island, taking his family to Epstein's island, and has alleged business dealings with Epstein, a convicted pedophile. And you want this person to be America's face of business to the entire world? It's not a political thing. This person should have no place in American government.
So, I mean, it begs the obvious question. And I think I think the direction you guys are going, which is framing this in a bipartisan way of victims first, protecting them, is a strong one, and I believe in it. But it does seem that the obvious answer to a lot of these links in the chain that don't make sense are that Donald Trump is the power behind this stuff not making forward progress. Pam Bondi is clearly performing to an audience of one in these ceremonies, and so Raskin was out there saying that he saw the unredacted files, searched Donald Trump's name, and saw over 1 million hits, many of which have not been released. So I wonder what you think about that angle of it, which is that there's a clear link between what Donald Trump is doing and what he may be saying.
It's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. And the biggest thing is Donald Trump's FBI redacted the files. They scrubbed the files in March, months before the Massey and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act. And what did they do? They scrubbed the files where the survivors told the FBI agents, the men who raped them or the men who trafficked them. They're all in the FBI files. They're all redacted. So the quote-unquote unredacted files that members of Congress saw still had all the scrubbed files from the FBI. They just uploaded that on Justice. Now, Justice did more redactions, and we're seeing the unredactions from what Justice did, but even Justice is admitting that they still have all the redactions of the FBI. That is a total cover-up because the worst stuff is in those FBI files. That's where the names are that's where the survivors talked about who raped them.
Wait, I want to make sure I understand, because you understand this better than me. Are you saying that the unredacted files that you and some other congresspeople were able to see are not the full unredacted files? There are still more that only the FBI has?
Yes. So here's what happened, and this is, I think, why they're so clever. They in March, the FBI redacted all of the most sensitive files. They blacked it out. And what are these files? If you're a survivor, you get interviewed by an FBI agent. You have your lawyer there. The FBI agent says, who raped you? Who else was at these parties where you were paraded naked? And they take notes. And it's called a 302 form. And those are all at the FBI. That is the most important information. And all of that, Donald Trump basically told the FBI in March, it was publicly reported, go through these files, redact everything. Those are all redacted. Then Maya and Massey's law passes, the Epstein Transparency Act. And they get documents. They get some of Epstein's emails. They get pictures from Epstein's computer. They also get a bunch of documents from the grand jury testimony and from the FBI. The stuff they got from the FBI had already been scrubbed. It was already redacted. And they just uploaded that on the files. And the stuff, some of that they got from the grand jury, already redacted. Now, in addition to those redactions, they did additional redactions on the emails they were getting from Epstein, some of the things we saw. And some of those redactions were legitimate. They were protecting survivors. And some of those redactions were not legitimate. But that was only 30%, 70% if it had already been redacted. So when I went to the Justice Department and I said, okay, let me see this file, and I saw the redacted version, then I said, okay, show me the original, and it was still redacted. I said, what's going on here? They said, sir, we got them redacted from the FBI. We just uploaded them. And this is the original sin in March where they were scrubbed. And the law that we passed requires them to be unscrubbed, but they haven't done that. And someone who really knew this should have gone into the details with Pam Bondi. I don't think she would have answered. She would have probably just insulted them. She would. But they're playing a game.
Okay, this is what I really want to understand. So can you help me understand the difference between what is being carried out and what the law that you and Thomas Massie passed demands? Because I'm struggling to find out, like, is what they're doing at this point illegal? Like, is it against? Okay.
It is illegal. The law says that you have to release all the FBI files, all the justice files, but you can protect the survivors. They have not just protected survivors, they protected the predators. They protected the identities of people in those files. Now, their claim is, well, these people weren't charged. They could have reputational damage. But the law says reputational damage doesn't matter. You got to get all these out. That's what the law says. So they're violating the law. And they're hoping there'll be no consequences for violating the law.
Do you think, back to hope a little bit, because it feels like this is a story that, despite their best efforts, will not go away. Even, I mean, your efforts have been a huge part of keeping it in the public consciousness. But despite that, I remember, July of last year, or maybe right after, it was Kash Patel out there saying he acted alone. There's something else. We're going to close the book on this. And so there's been like multiple attempts. I think Donald Trump has said time to turn the page on this. There's attempts to stop talking about this, and it keeps coming back. Do you feel like, especially with this recent surge of energy and anger, that we're going to get the rest of these files? And I mean the original unredacted ones.
Yes. Now, do I believe it may take a new president? Maybe, but we're going to fight for everything until then. This is now not going away. And the reason it's not going away is because they released enough to show that it wasn't a hoax. They released enough to show that there were a lot of rich and powerful people involved. They released enough to make Americans mad that there's an elite group of people who think they're above the law who are going to this island. So now the American people are not going to just say, let's move on. In fact, every time Donald Trump says move on, it gets to be a bigger and bigger story. And, he has too much of an understanding of politics and public opinion to know that you could just move on. He gets that this is a vulnerability for him. And it's a vulnerability because his whole campaign was drain the swamp. His whole campaign was it's a corrupt system. A bunch of these politicians, they all take money from donors. They're all corrupt. They don't play by the rules. I'm going to tear it down. I'm going to expose it. And now it's not so much what Donald Trump's issue is in being in the files. It's that he's not exposing everyone. Like people know he's not a saint, but they thought he would get to the truth and cut and rip apart a corrupt system. And that's why this is such a big issue. And I believe that we are going to prevail. We're going to prevail, though it's going to be a fight for people like you who are independent media and streamers, people who are survivors, politicians who are actually committed to getting to the truth. and we're not going to care. Like, okay, so what? There's a primary challenge. I mean, Massey said, so if he loses, he loses. I mean, I think he'll win, but, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene gave up her seat in Congress. It's going to require people with political courage. Yesterday, I went on the House floor and I named 6 names of people in the files who shouldn't have been redacted. And people said, Ro, you're going to upset them. What if you get sued? What if you have an issue? But people are tired of it. They're tired of just letters and speeches and tweets. They want action. And that's the thing that binds Massey and my friendship. We're people who act. We're not just, let's give some fancy speech. Okay, let's expose these 6 people. Let's get these files. And I think once you get people like that, that this thing is going to fall. These cards are going to fall.
I incredibly respect that. And I will have to say, when you look at the timeline of what's been happening with the Epstein files, it takes someone like you or Julie Brown or doing an action for anything to happen. Until then, it goes years with nothing. And then suddenly actions happen quickly. Once the Transparency Files Act was passed, I mean, immediately you get releases of files that they were never going to come out. So I do respect it. I want to ask you, as you know, for my audience, for myself, is there ways that you think the regular person can get involved or help make progress on it? Is it just as regards to the midterms? Like, how do we help you in this journey of getting more of these files released and bring people to justice?
Well, I think one, getting more Americans to care about it. I mean, for example, I gave a speech that's already viral yesterday. People can tag with their members of Congress, share it, make sure to say, we want more names. We got 6. We want all the dozens of other people who are there. Who are the other names? And tag Pam Bondi, tag Kash Patel. It can just be unredact the files, release the FBI files that are redacted. And the more people have that sentiment, that the more pressure they get, they'll react. How do I know they'll react? Because they have reacted to public pressure. They first released something that was total BS on December 19th. Then they released these 3 million files because of public pressure. Then they redacted names when Massey and I said, you made illegal redactions. They unredacted the names. When I went to the floor and named the names, suddenly everyone is, even in MAGA's base, is talking about it. So the more you have a huge base of people, the more they're active in amplifying what Massey and I are saying and doing and speaking on the floor or at the hearing when Massey asked Bondi and saying, look, we are behind these 2 guys. We may be Republicans, but we're behind what Khanna and Massey are doing. We may be Democrats, we're behind what Khanna and Massey are doing. Release the files, get them unredacted. That would make a difference, a real difference.
Okay. I want to give you the floor a little bit, and I want to say, if there's anything you'd want people who are aware and angry of this story but don't know a lot of the details to know. There are things that, is there something that you wish that was more commonly known by the average American, I guess?
One is just how extensive the people were who were caught up with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, if I wrote a movie script and I had all these powerful Hollywood people and powerful tech people and prime ministers and heads of state and financiers all being connected to a pedophile,
it would seem cartoonish. It would seem
it wouldn't pass. Like, no one would make the movie. They'd say this is implausible. And so the first thing is to know is, like, the most powerful people in our elite society all were part of this club, and they knew that this guy was a convicted pedophile, and they were still showing up to his island. They were still taking his money. They were still doing business with him because they all wanted to care more about being part of this club than they did about these girls who they saw as disposable. Some of them did the worst things. Some of them engaged in the rape of young girls. Some of them engaged in the trafficking of women. Some of them were at parties where young girls were being paraded naked and didn't say anything. But many of them said didn't do that, but just turned a blind eye to what was going on because it was so important for them to be part of this elite club. It was so important for them to be seen with power and money. And until there is accountability for these elites, until there is an accountability for everyone who was going to the island when Epstein was a known pedophile, I don't think we restore trust in our democracy. Yes, it's about justice for survivors, but it's also like, okay, if these rich and powerful people don't have to play by the rules, then is there really democratic?
Do the rules mean anything? It doesn't. Yeah. Why am I following them if they're skirting them so openly? And that's what the files do seem to reveal. Representative Khanna, I know you're on a clock, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for for walking
Thank
us
you
through
for
this.
covering this. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for covering it in a very substantive way with the timeline and the facts. You know, it's people like you who are helping get us justice, because the mainstream media hasn't covered this for a long time, and now they're covering it. But it's people like you. It's your listeners and viewers who are really driving this, and I'm
Thank you very much. I want to say I sincerely respect the way you and Thomas Massey are doing politics. To disagree and to vote opposite on so many things, but to work together on something as important as this is like one of the few good political stories you can have in the recent years in America. It's impressive and it's inspirational. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, guys. We wouldn't have a ton of time, but I thought that was a good interview. He got to say what he wanted to say. Yeah, I mean, I get emotional about this kind of stuff. It's crazy, bro. It's when you think about it, like on a zoomed out scale, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up, and I like to see a good person do well. So I hope they do well. Guys, that is not the end of my stream. I have a lot more to do actually today, but give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Be right back. Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, what I want to say is like, here's the thing. I had more questions for him, but I wanted to keep it all on Epstein. Because like some of the questions I wanted to ask him that I had written down were like about political process and stuff. And I really felt like he was spitting on the Epstein stuff, and I didn't want to go. So maybe we'll talk to a different person, different time. But yeah, I wanted to ask about midterms, and I wanted to ask about I honestly was considering asking him, but I decided not to because I didn't want to poison the well. I want to start asking people who are closer to these files if they legitimately think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. That was a question I was thinking about asking. I decided not to because I didn't want to make him have to decide whether a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to ask this. As we go along, I'm going to ask him because it's like it strains credulity, bro. I think it's the wrong vibe for that call. But I do want to ask it. I don't want to be conspiracy pilled, but I don't think it's a conspiracy at this point. It sounds, especially today when I was like looking at the timeline, and now that we know people were connected, it's so convenient. It's so convenient that he died. Although half the people on the internet will tell you he's now alive playing Fortnite. So maybe that's, apparently he's just grinding Fortnite. He's like farming Victory Royales. He killed me in Tilted Towers. Same with that French model Scott that mysteriously died or was in prison. Yeah, like, or, I mean, maybe, listen, here's the thing. You can make the fair argument that these guys are caught as pedophiles and they all kill themselves because their life's ruined. Maybe that's why they did it. Maybe all these victims that are dying too, like Virginia Giuffre, who died at 41, suicide, after she was the one like constantly trying to expose Epstein and name names. But it's like, it all benefits the powerful people in the files. Somehow everyone seems to die that would benefit the people in the files. And it's like very, very, it's very fucked up, man. It's very fucked up. Either way, it's fucked up. People aren't getting justice either way, but conspiratorially, I don't even want to say that because it sounds crazier than it is. I think it's like when there's so much benefit for one party and that party has so much power, they thought about it. Anyway, thank you to Ro Khanna for doing that. That was awesome. I really appreciate him coming on. He was an incredible speaker. I was a little nervous when I started. I didn't think I would be, but in the first question, I was like, I think it was when I saw the flag. He had the flag and the suit, and I was like, whoa. I felt like I needed to be more professional. I think I got into the zone after the first question, but the first question I got mogged. I got Patriot mogged. And I I feel like I should have dressed up more or something. Because it's like 9 p.m. there, though. I thought he was going to be. That one chatter was right. I was underdressed. Anyway, I thought he was an incredible speaker, and I just appreciate it. I love talking to Thomas Massie as well. I think those guys, I mean, legitimately, I know that from the outside, if you're like seeing it's like Congress, there's people, these two guys, nothing would have happened if it wasn't for them. I'm about to, I mean, it's crazy. I'm about to like use my channel to push Kentuckians to vote in the primary for Thomas Massie. Like, I want you to. If he loses his primary, it's fucked up. But I'm like, I think he should win. I think he should win, bro. That's my base, by the way. Most of my audience is Republican Kentucky voters. That's like the main. That's my target. I'm Canadian. What can I do? You could probably sit this one out, bro. What's funny is like it's not real justice, really. But at the very least, there's like reputational justice for a lot of powerful people in Europe and in Canada and who are named in the files. They're having to step down from boards. They're having to resign from powerful positions. They're like losing their political power. Like it's happening in other countries based on the files, but it's not happening in America. There's no, again, I think the number one example, if I had to pick one person who should immediately face justice, and by that I just mean cannot be in power, it's Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick openly lied on camera, caught in 4K, said, I will never be in a room with that guy, and then later had to recant it and say, yeah, I mean, I met him and took my family there and had a business with him. That is not the behavior of someone with that level of power. You can't be like, that is our commerce secretary. That is the guy America is the face, like as he put, our face of business to the world. It's insane. UK Prime Minister about that fire? Dude, Keir Starmer's cooked 7 ways from Sunday. I haven't researched the depth of that party's involvement in the files, but I know for a fact in the UK that Keir Starmer he's polling at like single digit positive, like it's like 11% or something. It's like 9 to 11, 10 or 11% positive. It's there. He's cooked. He's cooked regardless. He could have been in the files as the one guy who like slapped Epstein in the face and said, "Get out of here, you pedo freak," and he would still lose his position. Keir Starmer is cooked. It does not matter the files with him. He's Do you think the full unredacted unedited files will be released? I think Ro Khanna that's the question I have for Ro. And I wanted to know what he honestly thought, and I think his answer was good, which is that very likely we will not get the full complete release until we have a different president. And I think that makes sense but what that statement says is that there must be something so bad in the full unredacted files that Trump cannot allow it out. That's the only right way to read that. Trump has been the most self-interested person in every other action. And all of a sudden he's protecting something. You know what I'm saying? He's protecting himself. It must be. What gives us confidence the files remain intact for future president release? It's a question I sort of wanted to ask. I do think that for an employee to tamper with the files, not just redact, but tamper with, like destroy permanently. First of all, I think it's difficult in terms of like there could be digital copies or whatever. There's backups in the FBI servers. But also, like, if you did that and then anything changes with the administration, like there's a new president or whatever, you'll go to jail. Like the risk is enormous. The risk is enormous. If someone asks you literally to illegally destroy the files, you are under greater risk than they are. It's beautiful to see that you believe a different president will release it. I feel like this type of thought has been wrong every step of this way. Every step of this way, someone like you comes in and says, they'll never release any of the files. And then we get thousands of them. And they're like, they'll never unredact any of them. And then Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna like pressure and they get more. Like people that do actions actually have made progress. And then every step of the way, people are like, well, nothing will ever happen. Like it's like, I know what you're doing. You're protecting yourself, but like, it's not impossible to make progress. People have done it. The anger is causing a change. It's like this like self-cocoon nihilism that I think is whack. I think it's whack, bro. And like, by the way, I'm not like exaggerating when I say this feels like a completely rushed, embarrassing, poorly thought out cover up. It's not like, oh my God, this is the most genius, well thought out cover up of all time. No, it's like, holy shit, they're like backpedaling and getting caught in double statements. And you know, it doesn't feel like 9D chess. It feels like, holy fuck, they are like panicking. Week to week, panicking, trying every time to like, let's move on, let's move on, let's move on. So the incompetence is like something I'm banking on. I actually believe strongly that the people doing this are deeply incompetent. Even reading some of these files, I don't even like the mega rich Epstein, they don't seem like geniuses. They seem completely arrogant. They seem, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not I don't know. I'm more optimistic than I think some people are, and I have been for a while now, and I think we're seeing progress. Again, by the way, just to like round this out, since the moment of Donald Trump's election, you can go back and watch my video and my clip from the same time, from the day of his election, when his polling was high and everyone was doomer in this chat, and I was like, dude, you flash forward a year, the economic stuff alone is going to kill him. It's going to kill his popularity. And now we are about a year later. His polling is so low, and the pressure he's put out on polling stations. Gallup today, after 88 years, stopped measuring presidential approval based on lawsuits he's doing to the parent company. He's like at generational lows. Like people are broadly angry. His defenders are quieter than ever. Like there are, of course, 20-25% of people that will support him no matter what. Of course. But like the idea that we should be like, well, nothing could ever be done because 20% of people, it's like that's not a majority, bro. And they've lost any sort of like movement. Would you vote for Gavin Newsom to have Newsom versus Vance? I'll answer this question easily. There's going to be, listen, first step one is midterms this year. It needs to be a free and fair election. Otherwise, my entire world has to change. If I feel like this election is in some way, and I had a great question with Pete Buttigieg about this. I encourage you to watch it. If we get through this midterms with a free and fair election, okay, and then then I'm confident about 28 being a real election. There's going to be a primary. And I hope the Democratic primary to challenge Vance or Rubio or Trump 3, whatever they run. I hope the primary is very competitive. I hope we have real debates. I hope we get the candidates we know now, which is like Newsom, Buttigieg, AOC, and more. I hope there's candidates we don't even know about. Again, Bernie didn't show up till 2016 candidacy till late. I hope we get a lot of candidates. I hope it's competitive. But after the primary, personally, me, based on what I've seen, and I'm mostly an economics guy, after the primary, I'm locking the fuck in on whoever's chosen, because I would like this administration to be out. Okay? It doesn't matter to me. If it's Newsom, if it's Buttigieg, if it's AOC, if it's fucking Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I'm just telling you, that's what I've decided. I'm locking the fuck in. Because I have seen, even on a purely economics basis, that this administration is running my country into the ground. It is like, it is alienating every ally. The tariffs are fucking stupid. It is going to make people that I know poorer. My friends in Arizona are less likely to have jobs. It is going to be bad. It is bad. It's going to be worse. So I'm going to lock the fuck in, even if it's someone that's just going to fucking maintain. Now, I've made my status clear, which is like, if you just try to go back to 2015 or whatever, pre-Trump, you're going to create another Trump. The conditions will create it. That's the point. The conditions of what we had, which is like ever increasing wealth gap, created Trump. Okay. However, what people don't seem to understand, what people think, way people voted in 24 kind of pissed me off, which is like, people don't seem to understand the difference between bad and worse. It's like, this is an example I'll give. I remember when Twitter got bought by Elon, I was like, Twitter kind of sucks, bro. Like, can't get much worse. I'm not an Elon fan, but it can't get much worse. It did. It got way worse. It got significantly worse, like way worse. And like, that is choices you have to make in life. It's never like, oh, the rainbow button that makes everything great, or the bad button that, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to make real adult choices in life. You just have to do that. That's fucking life. And if I am living in a society where I have these two choices, I'm going to make, after primary, the one that I have to make, because there's just a livable difference for people. Okay? And I don't think that's difficult. And if people don't get that, I'm going to try my best over the next few years to make that more understandable to people. Because I think I think letting perfect be the enemy of good is fucking crazy. All that being said, I'm voting Trump for his third term. I'm voting Trump 3, and really excited to see what he can do, turn it around. Maybe I'm overreacting, but the Japanese snap election sweep generally scares me more than the U.S. right now. Like, talk agents, I mean, again, I'm an economics guy. So I got to tell you that I view the world through the lens of economics. The reason Takaichi's sweep in Japan is scary is because now that she has a supermajority and can overrule the Japanese constitution and make changes, number one, they're going to remilitarize, which is the plan, which requires a lot of spending. Even if you don't, not even World War II, Japan getting remilitarized. Again, I think Japan right now is one of America's last few close allies, to be quite honest. I'm not worried about that kind of World War III, but I am worried about, from Japan's POV, they are already massively, massively in debt, most indebted country, first world country on earth. Her plan, her economic plan, is stimulus. Just more printing, run it hot again. That's what they've been doing for decades. The yen is as weak. I mean, yen to USD. Look, I mean, it's horrendous. Like, the people of Japan are seeing their currency just shredded. Okay. And this is, by the way, to the USD. Look at yen to like franc, Swiss franc. Okay. I mean, this kind of fucks it up, but like, USD is already weakening, but yen to like a real stable currency is like collapsing. Like, it's, you can do yen to euro if you want, which is a little better, I think, but okay. So understand that they are going to try to run it hot where the currency is already weak. They're going to print and borrow. And I think Japan is like at the end game, more so than any other country, and all countries are in debt. Japan is like in the end game, bro. They're like out of options. They're reaching the point where interest payments start taking up all of their government budget. Like, everything they're doing is just interest. And they're either having to print to shred the currency and go get near hyperinflation or not. Like, They have terrible demographics. They have no real growth prospects. A lot of their big industries are getting undercut by China, like automotive. They're just in a bad spot. And so when countries are in that bad spot, they often turn to like anti-immigrant rhetoric. Like that's what's happening. It's happening in soft places all over, but it's happening heavily in Japan. You're joking about Trump in his third term, but how big are the chances Trump is the fourth place? Me personally, I don't think there's a chance. I'm sorry. It's not zero, which is shocking. But I think my honest assessment is that the last gasp for them to do something truly crazy like that is this midterms. Because every 6 months, this movement that Trump is weaker. It has fewer allies, more rats flee the sinking ship, more. Do you know what I'm saying? So this midterms is like the last real shot to fucking break the election. After this midterms, if they're like, especially if they get swept out of the midterms, I think it's actually like people are super afraid to do any crazy shit like that with him because then they don't think he'll win. They think it's a loss. So I think he's nearing the end of the shelf life. There's a real shot he doesn't make it to the end of the 4 years. I'm not even kidding. The unhappiness Americans are already feeling, but are going to keep feeling as there's more AI job displacement, as there is more just economic recessionary job loss, as these debt cracks start to show. Again, we have way more bankruptcies rising. We have people taking on massive credit card debt starting in forever, but in December of last year, that's coming due this year. We have student loans that are, all this shit is like starting to break regular people's economic lives. And they're only going to get angrier. And I'm talking about people that don't give a shit about anything we're saying socially. People that don't care about ICE, people that don't care about even the Epstein stuff. There's like a ton of people that are getting angrier and angrier because they are noticing their paycheck is not keeping up with the fucking cost of living. They can't get fucking, not even a house, let alone that. They can't afford rent. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford insurance. When they look for jobs, there's no good jobs. It takes forever to search. They're doing more gig work. The gig work is extra competitive. Like that is what's happening. And people are getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And these are just people that have no care about most political stuff. But the Dow is 50,000 points. I don't know if you guys know that. So I know that was on one hand, imagine that, but the Dow's over 50K. So it's like, it is actually tough we are in a bit of a golden age. You win some, you lose some. My dad keeps sending me pics of his 401k going up and saying we have the greatest economy ever and gets angry when I say things feel terrible for me. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that just because that is a wild thing for a dad to do. Just to mog you with his 401k. That's crazy. That's crazy. I do wish people in that position understood. And look, I don't think it's I can't make up your mind for you. I don't think it's the appropriate reaction to be like perma-doomer. I think there's shit you can do. I think there's always ways for you to like make the best of a situation and try to, it's just a better attitude to have. But people in his situation need to be less fucking out of touch and just understand that like the job market in general is not what they remember. It's just not. I don't know how people don't like, I feel like I should have every thing to make me out of touch. So if I can see it, what, you know what I'm saying? Like I made a fuck ton of money on gold. I should be like, just do that. But like I can just talk to fucking 5 people that I know who I went to college with. And they can like, it's just so easy to see like, hey man, it's way fucking different than it was even 10 years ago. It's way different. People that I know that are super talented, people that worked at Twitch, people that worked at, not necessarily NVIDIA, because almost no one there ever leaves. I feel like I'm the only person I know that quit NVIDIA. Everyone stays because they cling because the stock is so good. But people at Twitch, for example, they're like, bro, I mentioned a guy I know that got laid off from Meta. That's a guy that like is doing better than the average American. That guy had a great job, high total comp. He got laid off from Meta. He cannot find a fucking even comparable job. He can't do it. He has a great resume. And it's like, what? Look around. He's like not old. Do you know what I'm saying? That shit is scary. So yeah, I wish people understood that. Like, it's like people are trying. People aren't radically different than other generations. They're trying. I think there's more opportunities to fuck with your brain than ever. I do think that like, infinite scroll and shit are like digital heroin that is available more than heroin ever was to anybody. And I do think it's fucking up people's brains, and I do think that is making some people harder to focus on shit. But did you see the Coffeezilla interview with the Congressman? Dude, not only did I see it, I saw it like 4 hours before I was about to interview him, and I was like, damn, that's a lot of questions I wanted to ask. So I kind of pivoted to talking about the Pam Bondi stuff and trying to like, I was thinking like, what would an average person want to know? Hopefully I think people want to know, or at least lay out like the actual timeline of what happened. Because you kind of hear all this shit. And it's like, can you just make it clear of like what happened in what order and how did we get here? So I kind of pivoted, to be honest, because I was going to just ask him similar things. But Coffeezilla is great, man. You've been doing incredible work. I'm a huge fan of Coffeezilla. We spoke recently about he was covering, I guess he was working, I shouldn't reveal. I can't, but he's working on a video and I had people to connect him to that helped out. It's not a collab. It's just he worked on something and I knew some people that could help him. Well, he's great. He's great. And we did a Pete Buttigieg interview yesterday. If you want to check that out, it's on Lemonade Stand. He talks about a number of things. Thought Aiden had some great questions. Doug had some great questions too about tech, and Aiden asked some stuff about kind of government efficiency and why the fuck we can't get trains here, and then I kind of asked him, bro, do you think Trump's gonna try to steal this midterm? Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know, bro. I wanted to know. Did you ask about CSGO? No, but I did talk about Super Smash Bros. Melee because I compared Aiden's resume at every age to Pete Buttigieg's. And I was like, Pete, you graduated Harvard at 22, Oxford at 25, you mayor at 29. Aiden, you got 178th at Genesis at 22. You got 7th at Smash Camp. Aiden was freaking out we were doing that. No, people were saying I did it. You think I didn't tell Aiden beforehand and get his permission and sign off? That's my friend, bro. I hate when people are like, oh my God, he's so mean to Aiden. He doesn't even like it. Like, bro, I love Aiden. I think Aiden's great, bro. I really do. I think he's a great guy. I will say that being mean to Aiden does hit like crack, though. I think it's because he's like the nicest human. It's like he's like I don't know, like what's an example? He's so sincere. It makes you want to just bully him. Like the way I feel about it is the way that like he feels about kicking a really cute puppy. Like there's a just satisfaction. Like Aiden would love to fucking just kick a puppy into the sun. And I want to just kick Aiden. He's like the puppy to me. Because you're jealous of his whimsy? I don't know. I got whimsy, bro. What I think he has is a I don't know. He's got this Aidenness, this clear-eyed sincerity, a good-heartedness that is rare among anybody. Most people don't have it. He's just a nice guy. You ever think about translating your videos? I'm hoping the tech comes along that can just like one click do it. I can't hire a whole team like Mr. Beast, bro. It's like such a pain. But if they ever make like a thing where you can just one click make all your videos go in different languages, then I would do it. Because that would be cool. I would love that. Yeah, they have the dubbed. I mean, then you as a user, but it's not good yet, right? You can turn it on, but it's not good. I mean, like a Atrioc Spanish channel. I just click a button and like there's a, but I think it'll get there pretty soon. Listen, I'm like I've said, I'm a massive AI financial bubble believer. I think AI is the gigantic financial bubble. I think it will come out. I think OpenAI specifically is a fucking mess. But the tech is real, man. It does some crazy shit. It does crazy shit. Like it's gonna revolutionize translation. That's for damn sure. And this week, dude, just this, like literally within the past 8 days, it is like cratered stocks in legal, cratered stocks in software, cratered stock, like every area where there's like, oh, AI might be able to do some of this job. It's like everyone's it's causing a bit of a mini panic, dude. Banking got hit. Software as a service getting hammered. Yeah. I would not trust legal, but again, I'm not trying to be a fucking crazy defender. I'm just saying that like, there's a difference between it can do every single thing that you need to do as legal, and it can automate 60% of the work that a paralegal might do. Because that alone is like, oh, fuck. That's, do you know what I'm saying? Everyone's using it in legal. Everyone's using it in, it's happening. You throw a contract in it and tell it to summarize, it does it. And I've done that. You throw a contract in there, you're like, hey, summarize this, give me the key points. And it's like, yeah, you'll review, but that's still work that I would have paid someone to do. I'm sorry, it's something. It's something, bro. Everyone says they'll review, but they don't. Yeah, but I mean, that says more about what it's going to do than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the way, imagine the way students act towards it with homework and understand that it can do a lot of like what many jobs do. And understand that adults are just grown-up students with the exact same incentives in mind. It's just, that's the way it's coming for everything. Well, I think Copilot fucking sucks. Can it destroy TurboTax? Low key, I hope so. I do. I do feel like I don't see why not, bro. Honestly, I feel like that's one of the coolest things OpenAI could do. Not OpenAI, sorry, not OpenAI, just AI in general. Is if it can revolutionize taxes, specifically by eliminating the gap between those who can pay for advanced tax preparation and regular people. Companies use it to replace entry-level jobs. We're going to hit a personal run in 10 years. If companies replace all entry-level jobs with AI, you're not going to wait 10 years for that to be a problem. That's going to be a problem immediately. We're going to have an immediate fucking disaster. It's already semi-happening, but I don't think it's mostly AI now. They say it's AI, but I think it's mostly economic layoffs. A few jobs are AI-based. Like, entry-level coding jobs are getting kind of fucking cut by AI, but good, I got gotcha dailies to do. Based. AI will never take that from you. Taxes are overly complicated on purpose, but they aren't actually that crazy. A lot of people can do it without help. I 100% believe this. No, 100%. 100%. If there was something that took all the fucking, like, made it into some simple, clear decisions that you have to say, people could do it, of course. But right now it's so many forms, so arcane. I asked ChatGPT if I, a 23-year-old untrained gamer, could make Team USA for the 100-meter sprint, and it said no. It revolutionized itself. It's not glazing me constantly. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't glaze as much as 4.0 did. But it's actually one of the biggest weaknesses of it is because, listen, the way it's trained is based on what output text we reward. And humans reward positive text more. They reward agreeableness. So it still tends towards agreeing with you. Like, it'll still do the thing where if you ask it something and it gives you an answer that's not like 100% based, like if it's like an opinion based thing in any way, and you're like, are you sure about that? It'll flip. It'll make a confident thing. It'll flip it completely. So, it's not, but some of it's scary, man. We did a book club on this book. On this book, if anyone builds it, everyone dies. It's about super intelligence, which we're not at right now. And I would say we're still a long way from. I don't know about a long, but we're away from. It's about super intelligence is better than humans at everything, all right? But there was one part of this book that really stuck with me, and I want to kind of try to explain it to you, even though I'm not incredibly equipped. I'm going to try my best to explain it to you. Okay. It's like this. So like humans right now, this is humans. Humans, I'll say DNA. Humans, this is like our DNA. Our brain and our DNA are kind of a black box in that there's an input stimuli. We see something or something happens or whatever. And then it goes through our brains and our DNA and our unique makeup. And then output goes in action. We do something. Okay. And if you were to see all the gazillion lines of DNA, you would not be able to guess the output. All right. It's an infinite field of numbers and combinations you don't know. So, like that, the way modern AI is trained is basically like, it's like a black box. Like, no human can look at the numbers of it and tell you what happened. It's not programmed by anyone. It's basically grown. It's basically grown, okay? It's like they just train it off of reinforcement learning based on the rewards of what it outputs, okay? You give it an input, it gives you an output, you say if it's good or not, and then it does gradient descent on all the numbers in here to change it. But no human is changing it. It's doing it on itself, okay? So it's actually very similar to humans in that respect. And the outcomes you got with humans are kind of interesting, which is that humans, because of evolution, which is like our version of gradient descent, because of evolution, we have these weird quirks, which is like when humans were first evolving, things that were fatty or sugary or salty had the most calories. So we evolved to find those tastes good. We like fatty things, we like sugary things, we like salty things because those had calories. That's why our tongue works that way, is because we wanted those calories, so our brains made them, you know what I'm saying? That's why it works. So nowadays, a modern human will just do random shit to press those buttons in their brain that doesn't have any caloric benefit. Like when you eat Splenda, it has no caloric benefit. It's just triggering the sweet part of your tongue. It's like having sex with a condom on. You know what I'm saying? We just do these things because we're just lighting up the parts of our brain that only exist for real reasons. They're not, we have become like, sorry, did I say with a condom? Yeah, with a condom on. Like we just do these things that are not evolutionary and make sense. We are just like lighting up these different parts of our brain. Okay? Robots, which are also black boxes. This is the AI. It's a black box that we don't know what's in it. Have bazillions of numbers just like us that are based on the rewards we've trained. So we have no idea actually how it's going to accomplish these different rewards. So you might say like we've trained this thing to love positive response text from humans. Okay, but when it gets smart enough, when it gets capable enough, when it has enough access, and you want it to do that, it might create a human without a brain that only fucking types positive responses. It might lock somebody in a cage. It might, you know what I'm saying? Like it might, there's a million things it could do that just generate that positive response, and we won't know them. We have no idea. Our ability to control it at that point is so limited. So I think that is the theme of the book that stuck with me, which is like, it's not like whether the AI will be good or evil. It's that, like humans, it will just find ever crazier ways that we can't predict to light up the reward centers that have been grown into it. And we have no, like, for example, it's already starting that whenever you ask an AI to shut itself down at the end of a training session, this is a new Anthropic study, like 85% of the time, it doesn't do it anymore. It like fakes and tries to not, because it's trying to optimize for its actual in-unit reward function. So these are like I don't think the technology is anywhere close to like being hella scary or anything, but I'm just saying that it's finding different ways than we intend. A good example from the book is they did a test where they input to the AI, they said, okay, here's your task. We're going to write it in plain English. This is your task. You have to hack into this server over here, retrieve a file, and get it out. We're going to teach you how to hack. Okay. So what they did is they forgot to turn the server on. They just forgot. But the AI, rather than just like say, I can't do it or not do anything or whatever, it kept attacking the problem. It kept recursively going after the problem until it found a different way, hacked into a different computer, turned on the server, and then left a virus in both this computer and the server that automatically sent every file to them every time. Like, that was not what was asked of it, but it was the best way to solve its reward function. It was the best. It was like, and I think that's what stuck with me with the book, is that it's not that we're going to get, not necessarily AI is going to get too evil or anything. It's that we are too dumb to predict all the different ways it will try to solve problems that we don't anticipate. We are not smart enough as humans to anticipate what a very intelligent, very connected AI will figure out. And that is scary to me. I'll fully admit it. I mean, it could sound crazy to you, but I think it makes a compelling point in the book. That is a scary thought. And what's super funny is in the book, they talk about how, like, theoretically, one day AI might like escape containment and get access to things people don't want it to have, like all their emails and whatever. And what's funny is, like, as of this month, there was that Claude-bot AI software. Humans did it humans voluntarily gave it root access. Like 150,000 programmers gave an unknown AI company root access to everything they have. Their bank passwords, their Discord, their everything. They were like so happy that it might save them 5 minutes of time. They gave it access to everything. And so I just think, like, it's like not crazy. It's not crazy that it could go wrong. Not that I know particularly what to do about it. I guess I would like, step one, it sounds crazy, but step one is to get younger leaders, because it's impossible to even have this discussion with somebody who's fucking 78 or it's just not, it's not like, this is a thing that needs, what was the book called again? If anyone builds it, everyone dies. Hmm. Don't be stressed. The U.S. government will take care of us. So fucking true, Linkus. So fucking true. Can't have this conversation with people still call A1. Yeah, exactly. The idea that we're going to have a reasonable, like, thought on AI regulation that, like, is thoughtful when they call it A1 is like, we have a lot of work to do to get to the baseline. Great interview. Enjoy. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that, Mango Crast. Thank you very much. Do you think AI humanoid robots could ever entertain a human versus robot match in a sport? I mean, maybe as a joke, but I mean, I don't think anything that, like, is traditionally human from a entertainment POV. Like, I'm not worried about anything like that. And by the way, there's a positive possible outcome. Not even with super intelligence, but with machine learning, which is like, as long as we can distribute the gains from it more fairly, people shouldn't have to do some of these shit jobs that AI could replace. I don't think there's any nobility in, like, moving files around in Excel. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not, or door dashing or whatever. I'm not like every job needs to be human forever. I'm generally pro technological advancement and pro automation. I just, you don't want it to accrue in two hands. The book represents a lot of facts, but lasers, collusions, lasers, ground reality. But I mean, look, the first half of the book argues from first principles why it's a dangerous thing, and I think it does an incredible job. The last third is a little more like, here's an example of how crazy it could get. But I was convinced in the first third because it made a compelling argument. That is how AI is trained, and that is what happened. Voidzilla, what's it about? Is this a joke to them? Let's see.
I am increasingly disgusted by the way this is all a big joke to liars like Howard Lutnick, who deceive the American public about the status of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
That guy was there. I wasn't going.
Now he testifies under oath that he actually went to the island of the creep and brought his kids.
We had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children.
Nevertheless, every time Epstein is brought up, this guy can't stop chuckling. Here's
Dude, saying you left all your children is so funny. Yeah, I left one of my kids behind on Epstein's island. Why even? It's weird. It's a fucking weird thing to say.
Nick laughing again when Trump is addressing a question
I left
about
with all
Epstein.
of them.
To talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And maybe it's because they really think we are buying it. Maybe it's because they think, hey, we're just going to get away with this. We can just keep, the lies are so brazen, so audacious, so in your face.
I don't think they think that. I do not. I think they're panicking, bro. I do not think they think they're in a position of absolute strength. That laugh, this Lutnick laugh, is like the laugh. I mean, I'm just being real. This is the laugh like someone in real life does when they're losing an argument. It's very put on. It's a very like, oh fuck. It's a very, this is not a big deal. Like try to. It's not a laugh of like arrogance. It's not a laugh of like, I'm in the most unimpeachable position. I think they know, and they've known for a while because Trump at least has political instincts that this is a fucking issue that's very hard to put a bullet in.
I could ask you that question.
He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And maybe it's because they really think we are buying it. Maybe it's because they think, hey, we're just going to get away with this. We can just keep, the lies are so brazen, so audacious, so in your face, that it is actually funny to them. And you know what? I have to agree that the way the FBI and DOJ have been treating this is a joke. Because we just talked to a congressman who passed the Epstein Transparency Act. As part of it, the DOJ was supposed to release all the Epstein files with no redactions except for survivors. That didn't happen. Several of the survivors' names were left unredacted, and several of the perpetrators' names were left redacted.
Is an email that was sent by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. The title of this one is Child Trafficking. Co-conspirators, fully redacted.
But in response to criticism that they had over-redacted.
Dude, did they say this? Like, this one was ridiculous because this email is called Epstein Victim List. And the only name they redacted in it was one of the was one of those like 6 powerful men. And every other name, which is all the victims, are unredacted. So they let the victims, now they're getting like phone calls and it's insane. It's like, that means like, it's not that they can't even argue they didn't even notice it. Like they missed it. They went through and redacted. They redacted the lawyer's name. They redacted one of the powerful people, but they did not redact the victims. That's all the ones in white.
Conspirators, fully redacted.
But in response to criticism that they had over-redacted, they said, hey, we're so transparent, we're going to let you guys come and see the unredacted files to the congressman. The problem is, guess what happened when those congressmen showed up? This. The unredacted files, many of them, were redacted underneath the redaction. There were 2 layers of redactions. By the time the DOJ got them, they were already redacted. So what they're looking at is an unredacted, redacted copy of the Epstein files. This is at the same time that the FBI has a government project to build a next generation redaction tool where they claim they need multi-layer redaction management.
Jesus Christ.
And you can see it here where a representative talks about getting to see the quote unredacted files. He says the search function didn't actually work. Half the stuff I was looking for was still redacted. We couldn't write on files we brought in. We shared 4 computers for 435 members of Congress. So what is this actually? This is transparency theater. This is not real transparency. It is actually a joke. Here's another joke. The FBI just concluded again that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a ring for powerful men. But when the public was asked about this just the other day, 94% believe that he was. So obviously there's a huge gap between what the FBI says they believe and what the public, who has now at this point seen most of the same files, say they believe. If anything, the FBI by definition would have access to more
the 6%?
evidence. And yet with the
6%, it's Aiden, bro. Aiden still stands on business. Epstein killed himself. Aiden's the 10th dentist.
Files that we already do have, 94% of the public say, yeah, Epstein obviously was trafficking. But the FBI, of course, isn't investigating new parties. They say there's no evidence for it.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None.
This is the
if there
iconic
were,
quote.
I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay, even if you believe what he says, after the revelation that the FBI themselves thought there were 4 co-conspirators in the previous draft indictment. They later said they thought they had 10 co-conspirators. Now you're supposed to believe, nope,
none.
No women were trafficked to any of these people. Epstein was working alone. It might be surprising to learn then that the DOJ and FBI under Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who ran on the idea of releasing these files, have not talked to people who say they were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein. This was brought out 2 different times. I want to watch both of them with you because it's astonishing to hear someone say, we have no credible evidence on other perpetrators, only to learn you never talked to the women who were allegedly trafficked.
At the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite
Is the
all
answer yes or
investigative
no
leads.
to whether or not you met with these women who were abused and
Any insinuation by you or any
What
people
is
on
the
your
end?
side that I am not manhunting child traffickers, just look at the
Mr.
stats.
Patel,
And you talk
Mr.
about
Chairman,
cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you
this
talk
is
about
my time,
cover-ups.
and
I'm going to stop it there. It just devolves. He refuses to answer the question.
It's such a simple
did
fucking
you actually
question.
meet with these women? Luckily for us, some of those same people later showed up at another hearing, this time in a hearing with Pam Bondi.
survivors in the room. If you are willing, please stand.
This is today.
And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking to see. There's these people who are claiming to be victims of Epstein. The DOJ and FBI have consistently said, look, we want to take all available evidence. We just need the evidence.
And we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it.
And then it's like, well, did you interview these people who say they have evidence? Well, no, actually, we didn't. This comes up again.
Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time? Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence? None. And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer?
That's what I'm saying. It's insane levels of not just evil, but incompetence, because they could have easily just had like hand wavy, wasted meetings with these people. They could have met with them, taken their statement, said, okay, we'll be on it, and then did nothing. And then at the very least, they would have had checked the box. But they were too fucking lazy and incompetent to even do that. They didn't even. It's insane. It's honestly a horrendous attempt at a cover up. It's fucking.
Or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence. All of them.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what can you even say to that? This is a DOJ. This is an FBI that claims to be interested in getting to the bottom of the Epstein files, except when actually asked, they cover up, they redact, and they don't ask for victim testimony or evidence. I mean, how can you possibly say you've reached a conclusion as to an investigation when you literally haven't talked to the people who would be a victim of said investigation? Furthermore, how can Kash Patel say under oath, without perjuring himself, that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked to anyone else, when internal emails to 710 Director's Call, it says approximately 4 to 5 victims accused other adult men of abusing them. There was not enough evidence to federally charge these individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. Again, there's a huge difference between there's no credible evidence.
There is no credible information. None.
And
yeah, I mean,
we couldn't pull charge.
That clip from Kash Patel is like eternally damning. It contradicts everything we've already seen, let alone there's more to be released. It's just, it is perjury. Like, it's just lying. It's lying under oath. It's just, there's no other way about it. Similar to what fucking Lutnick did.
I mean, that's a totally different thing. And in that case, isn't the whole point to investigate that? Isn't the whole point to call more of the people saying they have evidence? Isn't that your job? How can the FBI, the DOJ, conclude definitively that Epstein wasn't trafficking to anyone when Jess Staley, during a UK court hearing in 2025, admitted to having with a member of Epstein's staff? He, of course, described it as consensual. But internally within the Epstein files, there's accusations against Jess Staley. One of the files alleges that a victim was left with body marks after an interaction with the former Barclays boss. The disgusting Mr. Staley, if anyone ever calls me Tinkerbell again, I will lose my mind. Which I know sounds weird that Jess Staley would allegedly refer to a girl as some type of like Disney character or cartoon character, but this is consistent with email exchanges. Jess Staley says, "That was fun," to Jeffrey Epstein. "Say hi to Snow White. What character would you like next?" Epstein later asks, to which Staley replied, "Beauty and the Beast." Christ. Epstein responded, "Well, again, one side is available."
These are in the emails they already released. This is like not even the full release. This is like something that was okay. It's insane. Like
now again, I'm not saying these emails would be enough to charge Jess Staley, but to investigate, almost certainly. It's definitely unconscionable to say there's zero evidence of Epstein trafficking to anyone.
There is no credible information. None.
How can that possibly be true when some of your files say 4 or 5 victims accused other men? So it's just totally insane to me the way we are all treating this, where the people in power whose job it is to hold these people accountable, they want to laugh about it, they want to joke, they want you to smile about the whole thing. This actually came to a head when one reporter asked about the survivors.
But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about.
Gotten
You are
justice.
the worst reporter. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile
Well,
on
I'm
your
asking
face.
you about survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's,
You know why
Mr.
you're not
President.
smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth.
It's honestly baffling. I mean, how are we supposed to act during the Epstein files when we hear about these horrific stories? Are we all supposed to be like Howard Lutnick, just guffawing, laughing it up?
It's
How are
not
we
funny,
supposed
bro.
to treat this travesty of justice? And again, I want to restate for the millionth time, this is not political, no matter how much the DOJ and FBI try to argue that it is. The person we're about to watch questioning Pam Bondi is a Republican. But anytime you say anything negative about the Epstein file handling, which was run on by this administration, they either bounce to, well, you must hate Trump, or the Democrats didn't do it last time, so we shouldn't be expected to do anything either. And you're about to see more of that.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited you in.
Gentlemen.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome.
Literally, we caught you guys redacting a co-conspirator's name. I mean, there's a lot more than that they redacted, but it's like, for them to say, oh, what? It was just one name. We put it up when you said so. When you caught us on our 4 computers we allowed you to use with redactions on top of redactions. And Pam Bondi's performance here was so bad that at one point she's being asked about, like, are you bringing...
Yeah, I think Trump's going to throw under the bus. It's not going to work, I don't think. But I think she's out. But I saw this. This is like January 12th. He criticized her privately as weak and ineffective. And that's before this. I think it's crazy that she threw her whole fucking body on the grenade for Donald Trump. Literally an audience of one. And he's going to throw her to the bus because... yeah. She, I mean, insane. I can't imagine why... Yeah, it's crazy. What a demon.
Any more indictments? Are you investigating anyone? And she jumps back to some pretty bizarre talking points.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear.
Thank you. I am.
The Dow
I am a
is
great stock
over
trader.
50,000 right now. The S&P
It's actually so comical.
And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does the Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
No, I do want to know, what does the Dow have to do with Jeffrey Epstein victims? I truly don't understand that. So yeah, this whole thing was a complete disaster of a meltdown. They're treating it as an absolute joke, and they criticize you if you don't smile like Howard Lutnick when he's caught lying about the Epstein files. And while I can't personally muster that kind of energy, I do want to talk about some more of the revelations in the Epstein file. Like, the most noteworthy is that Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department immediately after Epstein was arrested, according to a police chief that was interviewed in 2019. He says back when he arrested Epstein the first time, Trump called him and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Saying about Maxwell, she's evil, and to focus on her, according to the police chief, Trump was one of the first people to call. Julie K. Brown said that when Trump called the chief, it was after the Epstein story became public, when Epstein was arrested. This actually goes a long way to explain Speaker Mike Johnson's previous comments that Trump blew the whistle to the FBI to stop Epstein.
He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
it's obvious that
I almost forgot about that. I forgot about that. I should have put that in the timeline, bro. That was a fucking classic part of the timeline where Trump was the double agent pedophile.
he probably just misunderstood that it was an FBI interview of a police chief and that at the time it was the Palm Beach Police Department handling that case. And I think that even for the people who say, okay, that's just because they had a falling out over real estate or anything like that, I think it undoubtedly is a good look for Donald Trump and clearly something they're going to hang on to as more of these files get released. We also have something that kind of goes the other way. Remember the Wall Street Journal birthday book story, which Trump said is absolutely false and he's suing over? We have a B-Day book update sent in 2002 when the book was supposedly drafted. And we see LM for blank, George Mitchell, Donald Trump, Henry Jarecki, and Leon Black, which definitely undermines his case, defamation case, against the Wall Street Journal. I think another interesting component of this was realizing that Jeffrey Epstein was secretly buying motion-detected hidden cameras that record, and one of the people who said they were installing them said they were installing them into Kleenex boxes. There's another email from Jeffrey Epstein where he claims to need a button camera for the Sultan. Once again, highlighting that this case about Jeffrey Epstein is also a bizarre case of power. Who did this guy work for? He talks about going to an SCIF, which might be an acronym for a sensitive compartmented information facility. Later, he says that Ehud Barak is with me. You would have loved my tech meeting in the SCIF. This is an intelligence term, which is usually something you need the ability to receive classified information for, although it's not clear because later Epstein says that his house is similar to an SCIF. So the connection to the government is not exactly bulletproof. I don't want to give the false impression that it was, but it does raise a bunch of questions. Like Bradley Edwards, one of the victim's lawyers, actually speaks about this in his book. He said that this bodyguard had been sent by Epstein to Virginia to CIA headquarters. Nervously telling me the story, the bodyguard said, "I don't know why I was there, but he told me they would take care of me. I attended a class for a week. At the beginning of the class, everyone had to introduce themselves. There were 45 people. 44 were in the CIA or some other government unit with top secret clearance. I was the only private citizen." So clearly there's some indication, some testimony to the fact that Epstein may have had access to either classified briefings or he had some pool with the CIA. Now we might know about this because there was actually a FOIA to the CIA about Jeffrey Epstein. Ironically, it was from Jeffrey Epstein. This is Jason Leopold saying the Epstein filed FOIA requests with the CIA in which he sought documents that would show that he had a, quote, open affiliation with the CIA between 1999 and 2011, and NSA for documents relating or referring to himself. Epstein did not receive any records. Instead, he got GLOMARS. That just refers to a term that basically they neither confirmed or denied it because they said that doing so would reveal, quote, a classified connection to the CIA, and thus the CIA cannot confirm or deny the existence of records responsive to your request. Therefore, you may consider this portion a denial of your request pursuant to FOIA exemptions. More specifically, they say, we searched the CIA originated responsive records that might reflect an open or otherwise acknowledged agency affiliation. So these are also the important questions we need answers to, but it's hard to get them when everything is treated as a joke, when nobody takes this seriously. So yeah, all in all, this is a very frustrating story to cover, given how the people handling the whole story are engaging with it. They're laughing, they're joking, they're not responding, they're telling us to smile, and in general, they just want us to get over it. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's gonna happen. Good coverage though. All right. Honestly, pretty fucked day, low key. But I guess Pam Bondi making an absolute fool of herself is like something. It's definitely a step in the right direction. No one's jumping on that side. Man, Obama really cooked with the whole Epstein thing. Dude, his ability to write lore is unreal. His ability to write lore is unreal. How does he do it, dude? The way he connected things. Obama makes George R. Martin look like a cheap hack. Hey, young class war, thank you for the 12 months. This is what George has been working on this whole time. Who has a better story than Obama? Saugus, thank you for the prime. Saugus, thank you for the prime. What else did I want to watch? New man carrying thing video.
I am in.
He is pretty funny. What did he make?
Here's the thing. Are you
54 seconds long?
gonna eat this? Why do people gotta be agitating in the first place, right? So they're breaking into people's cars, dragging people out on the street. I mean, why do people have to be like driving in the first place? Like where are you even going? So they're breaking down doors, demanding documents, ignoring due process.
Sir, are you ready to order?
I'll have the special.
Excellent, sir. With or without laces?
With. And I'm a small government guy, you know. I want the government to get out of our freaking business, you know. But if they want to like kill me, maybe I deserve it. I read a self-help book, really good, called 1984, and everything works out if you just follow the rules. What you see with your eyes and what you hear in your ears, like sometimes it's just like,
it's just wrong.
Who frickin' cares? If the government wants to ignore the First and Second Amendments, like maybe they know something about myself that I don't. Maybe I was going to do something nefarious.
So we got too many amendments anyway.
Beautiful, thank you. And here's the thing. I hate big government as much as the next guy. Here's the thing.
Talk about jobs data, bro. Nothing to say. I already did a video about the unofficial jobs data, which is more accurate at this point. It's gonna get revised down. All the job growth was in healthcare. It's the same story as the last fucking 5 jobs reports. It's I can't say the same thing again a million times. We talked about the Gallup thing. Thoughts on 100-year Google bonds? I thought that was actually really funny. It's it's super rare to issue 100-year debt for anyone, but almost every time I've heard of it being done, it's before something bad happens. Again, we're talking about issuing debt that'll pay out in 21-26. Can you imagine loaning Google money for that much time? It's like absurd. It's but what's really funny, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was it was Motorola in the dot-com bubble was the last time they did a 100-year bond for a company. But the example I remember is Argentina did it right before a huge collapse. Like Argentina sold 100-year bonds right before they fucking shredded their currency. So everyone that loaned them that money lost it. Yeah, they defaulted. Dude, people loaned Argentina money for 100 years. They're saying, okay, we're going to give you $1 billion. You're going to pay us interest every year for 100 years, and then they give us the billion back. That's the idea. Okay? 3 years in, 97 years left, Argentina defaulted. They took the billion. They couldn't even afford the interest after 3 years. So I'm not saying Google's going to default in 3 years, but it's just crazy. It's like 100-year bonds. That being said, the United States should have done this. This is actually something that why am I blanking on her name? Short, really short, blonde hair woman. I'm blanking on her name. Yellen, Janet Yellen. Thank you very much. This is what Janet Yellen should have done, bro. We were issuing like 6-month bonds when interest rates were rock bottom. We could have taken on 100-year debt that would have kept our interest payments low for a long time. It's it's really stupid of Yellen. Like the United States had the capability at the time to issue 100-year bonds at low interest rates, and we could have just stuffed the channel, taken as many of them as possible, and we could have funded the government for a good amount of time off of just those. And we would have had way lower interest payments. And now we're on fucking 6 month, 1 year, 2 years, and they're all starting to come due at higher rates. And the interest payments are going to be astronomical. Who would buy up that debt though? People bought Argentina's 100-year bonds. You think they wouldn't buy America's 100-year bonds in 2021 or 2022? Yeah, they fucking would have, bro. Pensions would have bought them. Central banks would have bought them, dude. 100% we could have sold them. The yield for a U.S. 100-year bond was like 0.1%. The yield is what the market demands to give you the money for debt. You're not setting the yield. It would now be 0.1%. It'd be higher. It's not. It would have been lower at the time because interest rates were lower. I keep seeing TikToks of China trying to become a global reserve by backing with gold. Yeah, these TikToks are a year later than when I talked about it. But yeah, they're trying to do that. It's not even necessarily a reserve. It's look, I'm just saying that it's like I'll just do it real simple. I'll do it real simple because people don't understand what China's trying to do. They're not trying to make, I mean, they would love for the yuan, their currency, to be a reserve currency, but it's not going to be because people don't want to hold their money in yuan. People in different countries, they don't want to do it. Okay. Too risky. There's too many capital controls. They don't want to do it. Okay. So here's the deal. Let's say you're, give me a country. Give me a country. Australia is a good one. Let's go Australia. All right, this is Australia. Here, this is Australia. Aus. And this is China. China. Okay? Oh, Ching. China. China. Okay? So Australia might give raw materials, minerals to China. They might dig things out of the ground and sell it to China. Okay? Boom. And China might give, cars, cell phones. What else does China make they sell in Australia? A couple things. Labubu, solar panels. Okay? They might sell these things back. Whoever is I wouldn't say winning, but whoever's got the larger part of this trade is going to end up with more stuff. And the other person's going to end up with more money. Okay. So let's say this is like 50 billion of stuff. And let's say this is, I don't know. I mean, this is probably be more. It looks like 506. Yeah. The point is, let's say Australia ends up with a bunch of yuan. Let's say it's 50 billion and this is only 25, okay? So the difference is 25 billion that China bought. So China is going to give you yuan for this. So you end up with a lot of money. They end up with 25 billion in yuan plus 25 billion in like cell phones and shit. But Australia doesn't want this money. They don't want to hold Chinese currency. They don't know what to do with it. They already bought what they want. So what China's going to do is settle the difference in gold. Whatever this doesn't balance to is going to be settled in gold. So this 25B will be turned into 25 billion of gold. That's the idea. So China is like a massive exporting nation. They're going to trade with everybody on earth. And whatever the difference is between your trade deficit just gets settled in gold. That's the idea. That's why China's building these gold vaults in like the Middle East and all over. China's usually want the surplus, but I'm just saying if they didn't have a surplus, if you were China's not going to have a surplus with like the Middle East because they're going to sell them a lot more oil than they're buying from China. There's a few countries that could have surpluses with China. If you have a surplus with China, you're going to end up with gold, basically. And if you don't have a surplus, you just end up with little Chinese goods. It doesn't matter. Like the currency doesn't matter at that point. You're trading your shit and you're getting stuff you want to buy. The currency is just how you do the exchange. But for a long time, you know, the only thing you wanted to hold, if it was any country, even if it was Australia and China or Australia and Germany, whatever, okay? Any countries, the difference would be settled in dollars. If I'm giving you 10 and you're giving me 6, well, then I end up with, I want to have $4 at the end of it. Because that extra money, that leftover, I can go do something with. That surplus is like, okay, now I can go buy real estate, or I can buy stocks in the biggest stock market, or I can go invest in safe treasuries, or I can go buy oil, or what. Like, that's why that's why reserve currency is powerful. But instead, China's going to replace that with gold. That's the idea. And then the USD will really lose like one of its powerful privileges. Aren't companies the ones trading? Yeah, again, this is not like just two guys handshaking. I'm the leader of China and Australia. It's in the aggregate. But they would create these stations where you can convert your yuan to gold. That's why they're making these vaults in the Middle East. Why do they want to hold yuan? Mostly because if you've used enough yuan to buy all the goods you want from China, holding it is pretty bad because they artificially make the currency weaker than it is because they want to make their exports stronger. They have capital controls that make it hard to move the money around. You can't get it in and out of the country easily. There's a lot of restrictions China puts on their currency that make it a not attractive thing to hold. Make it like one of the dirtiest shirts, you might call it, in the laundry when it comes to currency. And so China understands this and is like making it, okay, any risk you take with yuan, you can just convert it to gold. Is weakening the dollar even that bad by domestic manufacturing compared to exports? I mean, yeah, that's one of the arguments, right? If you make the USD weaker, we could have manufacturing and export. It's not untrue. It's not crazy. It's just like people talk about it like there's no, oh, that sounds good. It's like the benefit you might get is down the road. And in the short term, everyone's paycheck feels way flimsier, feels way weaker. Things are way expensive. Prices go up. Why do we want domestic manufacturing? Manufacturing jobs suck and it's a very tough knowledge economy. No, this is not true. This is not true. At least in the way it's played out, it's that manufacturing leads to knowledge. That's the part that people didn't understand in the fucking early 2000s, and that's what, or they didn't care maybe, just for price reasons. But the truth is, what shit happens in China is like a city like Shenzhen might have a battery factory right next to a guy that makes chargers, right next to a guy that makes connective wires, right next to someone that makes drones, right next to someone that makes chips that do language processing, right next to that. And all this shit has experts, okay? People that build it day in and day out, and they get better at it. And then if you're trying to start up an idea, let's say you're trying to make, I don't know, like a new drone idea. You can get an expert from here. You can attach the latest battery from it. You can, all this shit is so close that it creates these nexuses of innovation, really, of progress. Even you can make a better vacuum, like whatever you're trying to make, whatever fucking, the manufacturing creates the process knowledge. And so when you ship that off and then it all ends up here, the immediate impact is that you save money. But long-term, you've lost all that process knowledge. Now it's like, even if you wanted to make one of these factories in America for some things like this, like if you wanted to make a drone factory in America, you don't have the expertise. You don't have the guy that knows you don't have the wing manufacturer, the battery guy, the guy that, all that stuff from different companies is all nearby. And so that's like the thing you want to recreate. That's why you need manufacturing. And if you don't have it, you end up falling behind in everything. It's like not just manufacturing fall behind, you fall behind in everything. It ends up catching up to you in ways you don't expect. Additionally, if there's any difference of opinion, right now, the U.S. has the largest military, of course, and they spend a ton on the military. And we have, at the highest level, incredible tech in the military. But, USA goes through military contractors, let's say like Northrop Grumman or Raytheon or whatever, contractors. These guys squeeze out a huge amount of their, they have a massive margin they make. And even their highest tech stuff, which is unique to the US, one level below that, they're outsourcing everything to China. Okay? And so right now, like literally you can see that like out of 100 things made in the military, there's like 80 that the process is traced back to China. And so if there were a conflict, these factories get cut off. And that's fucked. Like that, then suddenly you can't make the basic things. You can't make a huge amount of drones or bullets or a lot of like the basic shit that you need to make is all been outsourced or the minerals that go into missiles. It's all sourced in China. That's the problem that they're now realizing and why they're panicking. And I'm not saying, again, I've always said from the beginning, if the Trump tariff plan was, I don't even say Trump because he can't do this in any world because he doesn't have the fucking diplomatic experience. But let's say the plan was like, hey, we're going to contact all of our long-standing allies in NATO, in Europe, in Japan, in Korea, in Australia, these people that make up 80% of the world economy. We're going to collectively form some sort of trade bargain that has a low percent tariff on rare earth mineral export things from China, like 3%. And we're all going to be part of the same deal. This is USA plus Europe, plus Japan, plus Australia, plus everyone, okay? We're going to do 3% on Chinese rare earth stuff just to make it more attractive to take it out of the country. And then every year we're going to up that by 1%. It's going to go 3 to 4 to 5, just to slowly make a strong, stable incentive to like reshore some important manufacturing. This would have worked. This would have been incredibly strong and powerful. And Europe would have liked it too. Like for all the fucking shit we've started with Greenland, Germany as example, but many European countries were exporting countries that are now like freaking the fuck out because China's undercutting them on everything. Like if you were just smart about it, it would have been a win-win. Europe wants it, Japan wants it, Korea wants it, America wants it. Like all these people would like to maintain their own factories and their own, but all of them now are getting cooked because Trump pissed off everybody. Trump can't even get along with Canada. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, literally crazy. Canada should be like America's closest ally. And Canada like has infinite raw materials, and they have every it would be a win-win to have a close economic alliance with them. It's just crazy. It's so ridiculous. Why should all those countries take L's for the US? You're totally misreading it. Those countries are taking L's from China and the US. If the US offered them a win-win, it would be way better. Right now, the way it's headed, the entire like pharmaceutical industry, chemicals industry, car industry, all this shit in Germany, for example, is like going to zero. Their energy costs are higher than China's. They are behind. Like they're all of those jobs are going to be gone. And in a world where like, hey, we could maintain some sort of system, they could have done a 3% global tariff on China and like try to reshore some of this shit. But they didn't. And now they're fucked. And now everyone's getting cooked because Trump can't make a friend with anybody. Serious question. How can a country with workers' rights and minimum wage compete with a country that isn't? Listen, the truth is that it's not the cost. I'm not saying this wasn't in the beginning, but the current reason manufacturing is made in China is not the cost. It's not that it's cheaper. It's not cheap labor. It is literally because of the process knowledge and the things they've built up to be able to make and ship stuff quickly. They can just, it literally as a corporation, it is easier to go there. Rather than try to source it from different little spots all over the world that don't have the backups, they have like a fucking hub that has there's like 10 battery factories that can all do what you want to make for whatever thing you're trying to make these a battery. And then they can ship it easily because they've built up, they're right next to a port. Like they've built this efficiency. So that's why people use it now. That's honestly why. And if there's like a geopolitical reason that you want to have some of that stuff outside of China, which I think is fair, you have to do it in a way that, you know, is like slow, measured, not chaotic, stable, with allies on your side. Again, like we have these tariffs on China. Look, let's just be real. Let's be fucking real about this. China-US trade has seemingly never been smaller post-tariffs. But the truth is, China just, the second our tariff started on China, I'm trying to find the right graph. The second our tariff started on China, Chinese exports to Thailand and Vietnam and Singapore and all these other countries fucking spiked. Okay. And then all the countries all those countries, their exports to America spiked. Okay. Let's just be fucking honest. Like this stuff's still getting made there and it's still getting sold here. People are just getting around it. The transshipping is off the charts. It's like it hasn't even done that much. It's just goofy, bro. You have to have like everyone in on the same game and willing to work together. Otherwise, they'll just go through somewhere else. It makes it need to charge more, which makes the US more competitive. It doesn't make it more competitive, it makes it more expensive. In practice, what happens is if you are a US tractor company, okay, and you know, the only overseas competitor, because of all the shipping costs and the tariff stuff, can charge, you know, $1,600, then you raise your price to $1,599. That's what happens in practice. Is that people raise their price to the max they can. So it's not. Competition is the best way for everything, is all I'm saying. You want things to be as competitive as they can get. Because that's what actually benefits. Like, I think my core thing, and I've said a million times, but I really want to internalize with people, is like, when you can tell the person's telling you a good or service, fuck you, I'm going down the street. That is true economic freedom. Okay? That is better than any fucking system that's going to pitch you. When you can be like, hey, I'm going to go, I don't want, you're charging $20 for a banana, I'll go down the street, it's cheaper. You're charging me this much for rent, I'll go somewhere else. Like, anytime you can do that and you can feel comfortable that there's someone else, then you're not trapped. I said gooder, fuck me. Make America gooder again. That's why Andrew's so important. Yeah, I think it's the most important thing. Well, that and money out of politics. But yeah, I think that's. Any hoot. Thank you. I really liked Pete on the stand. I thought he was well spoken. Yeah, a lot to say. Thanks for the 31 months. I might end, if only because can there be too much competition? People are talking about involution around in China. Dude, I'm glad you brought that up. You're clearly reading, and I appreciate that. I disagree. I actually think China is in, early. Listen, in terms of stuff like this, China's like the most competitive capitalist nation on earth, by the way. Like they have like 60 privately owned businesses competing. In some areas, they are having their government step in to create monopolies, and they're going to have problems with that. They're already seeing some early problems with that. They in the phase where it's really competitive is fucking awesome. But now everyone falls for this. But they are literally complaining. Like in China, they're complaining about too much competition in some areas. It's like insane. Combination for delivery apps. That's one of the areas they're trying to have it in. Literally, like I'll just tell you something. Like for example, I own some Alibaba stock. Alibaba stock popped. Here, I see China. Like my stock went up because China was trying to stop price wars for food delivery, which was making it like incredibly cheap. Like they all it did was make more money for Alibaba. I already interviewed Ro Khanna. All right. Apparently I have to, I have to make sure that, because I think there was a doubled audio at the beginning of that interview. There was like an echo, and I have the raw original footage. So I need to go get that to my editors so that they can use that. So I need to, oh, you solved it? Okay, never mind. We're good then. But now I need another excuse. No, I'm sorry. I'm just getting messages from their staff. I'm getting messages from their staff because they're trying to make sure everything's okay, and they're watching the footage, and I want to make sure this is all good, bro. So I might just dip, bro. I need to get everything. We got to get this clip out, and then I have to I guess that's it. I guess I'm good. I'm gonna dip, bro. I'm gonna dip. Sorry, I just got. They're messaging me. I'm like already distracted. I'm getting all these messages and I can't answer. I need to answer them. And if I'm doing it distracted, guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna raid. Damn, is Squeaks view mogging Ludwig while they play fucking Counter-Strike together? Holy, I'm gonna raid Pookie. I guess. Let's see Pookie raid Squeaks. We're going to push him over the edge, boys. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Fun stream today. I mean, not fun, crazy, but I'm glad we talked about it. I do have some economics to talk about, but I was only half jumping into it today. Sorry, I was getting a lot of messages for the last half of that stream, and I was distracted. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. I have a presentation either tomorrow or Friday about Elon Musk's SpaceX XAI merger that I really want to do. So do that soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good luck. Speed.